welcome to another session of Informally Formal. As every week, we bring you someone very exciting, and our today's guest is a very important person, and so is our topic. Today, we're going to be talking about foreign direct investment. And to talk about this very important subject, we have someone equally important. Her name is Rupali Chaudhary. Many people know her very well. She does not need an introduction, but nevertheless, I'll give her a short introduction. Rupali Chaudhary, as you all know, is the managing director of Berger Paints, Bangladesh. And she's also the president of Foreign Investors Chamber of Commerce and Industry, FICCI, a very, very important institution. She graduated, got a master's MBA from Institute of Business Administration, the prestigious IBA, and started her career with SIBA. After several years with SIBA, she joined Berger and has been the managing director of this prestigious MNC since 2008. And under her leadership, I must say, Berger Paints has done phenomenally well, has garnered so many awards, ICMAP award, Best Corporate Award. I have to kind of look it up, Top VAT-Payer Award, Best Brand Award for multiple years. And in their just concluded AGM, I believe it was fiscal year ended to March 31st. March 31st, 2020, they declared a 295% cash dividend. Their sales went up, profits went up by double digit. I believe it was 16.72%. Sales were up more than 6%. So a top corporate leader, male or female, please help me welcome Rupali Chaudhary. Very warm welcome to you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I mean, the way you have introduced me, I thought it was somebody else, not me.
Not at all. You have earned every bit of it.
For me, it's not only the shareholders' return, but the employees' future. The responsibility lies with me. So for me, shareholders' return is important. Shareholders are also important, but equally important is the people who are working with me.
Spoken like a true leader. A true leader knows. A true leader knows if the employees are happy, then guess what? They make the customers happy, and therein comes the return, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Let's get started here. You know, our topic is a very important topic, and you know, before this pandemic, Bangladesh was clipping away at 8% plus. And even after this pandemic, I think regionally speaking, or even if you look at the entire world, Bangladesh is going to come out of it rather okay compared to many countries. But nevertheless, we've had to step back a little bit in order for us to ramp up and grow at the level at which we want to grow. You would very well know that FDI plays a very important role. So I would like for you to set a stage for us as to where do we stand. We have performed very poorly in FDI. Everyone knows that. So where do we stand and what should we do? Over to you.
Okay. Here, actually, on the issue of FDI, so the dialogue we had as a FICCI president almost 10 years back. So at the then, you know, in one of the meeting with the then finance minister, FICCI, as a FICCI president, I raised this issue that, you know, the FDI that we are talking about 100% growth, but in terms of absolute value, it is absolutely peanut. And that's how actually it was also reported in the newspaper. So at that time, you know, there was a tension whether we're going for local investment and then it is going to be in the interest of the local investment, FDI is favorable or not. So it is a long dialogue we had that we also talked about whether actually, you know, the China model we can follow, because China grew because of the FDI, and they actually, then they developed their own ecosystem for the local industrialization. So, so slowly the government understood. Now the positive thing is that what we actually understood that what we were lacking, not only in terms of infrastructure, we had serious problem. So government took up if it is late, never mind. The economic zones are being created, both private and the government, and all the utilities are going to be supplied. at competitive rate, and government is also trying to develop the fiscal policy which is competitive to other countries. And countries also specific have shown interest. Japan has taken one economic zone. China has taken, and for various other industries, Berger at Mirsharai, they are almost at the final stage. As a company, we also have taken a space in Mirsharai, but there are still a lot of things. The first time when you have this, there are a lot of dialogue and a lot of issues are there, and I think the stage is now set, and we were in competitive scenario with other countries. And let's see now let's invite, and it's the right time since a lot of investments are going away from China because of China-US relationship. So I think we are in the right spot right at the moment. And I'm very hopeful and positive about it.
Okay. Let me now ask you some very direct questions. As the leader of a MNC, someone else coming in from the outside would face some of the same problems that you're already facing. So my question to you would be, in our corporate landscape, in order for us to attract FDI, we need to clear out some stuff, because, and you are in a unique position to be able to tell us what are some of the hurdles that MNCs face when they operate in Bangladesh.
Actually, as a FICCI body, we interact with the regulatory bodies. One is actually, we have to see that whether with the neighboring countries we are competitive or not. Whatever fiscal regulations are there, whether they are changing constantly. Because when investments are done, they actually want to think fiscal policy to be the same for longer period of time, because there is a question of ROI, there is a question of consistency of a different kind of fiscal policy affecting the business, because there are 19 laws which actually govern a business. So it is a labor law, it is this, it is that. So all other issues that we have to see that constantly, it does not change every year. So this is a constant struggle we have, and we are having dialogue with the government, and they're listening to us. Because they do not have the consistent policy, then there is not going to be sufficient growth in each of the sector. Because we have to understand that we are standing or living besides a huge market like India. So we do not have the benefit of the scale. We have the benefit of the human being, a agile population who are resilient and very talented, trainable people.
As we all know, in the ranking of ease of doing business, Bangladesh in the past has consistently ranked very low. So we are very much want to bring into what they say double digit, right? So we bring it to within 99. So a lot of a lot of areas are being worked on, because businesses, as you know, they're basically looking for, when they want to invest in some country, they're looking for, they don't want the hassles, they want to come in, do a good job, make a profit, and repatriation of funds and all those things, that these are all within a easy framework, right?
Repatriation of fund is not a problem for Bangladesh. That could be a problem. China, but repatriation of fund, as far as the law is concerned, as far as the process is concerned, it is becoming faster, pretty clear, faster and faster, and where is working. Basically, where we actually struggle is suppose, there are some issues, like we have enough electricity, but do we have, what is the connection giving time? If we apply for that transmitter, how long does it take? Since we have the enough, power, production of the power, now we have to really automate or bring efficiency in terms of giving the connection. So those are very doable things. It's not really impossible. It should not take that long a time. So we need proper SOP in places, and BIDA also in terms of connecting different bodies where they need to go to different bodies, and those bodies are also automated and use the same language. So integration happens. So this is a big job, and World Bank and PwC, a lot of companies are working together, ENY. So a lot of companies are working together. We hope that we come to that one platform.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. You mentioned Vietnam just a little while ago. Vietnam as you very well know, attracts a lot of FDI. And
Yeah.
even though we have, of course, kudos to our garment industry, for which we
Yeah.
have seen our exports go up exponentially over the years. But again, if you look at a country like Vietnam, I mean, they export so much more than us, so much more than us.
Yeah.
And many of their exports was a direct result of attracting FDI. Because if you think about the Samsung plant that basically went to Vietnam, at one point, I guess they were looking at Bangladesh, but then eventually ended up being in Vietnam. That plant alone now exports about $30–35 billion. So, you know, I am with you. I'm very hopeful that, you know, we are working, at least we understand now, we are working to increase our index, you know, ease of doing business, one-stop solution. BIDA is working day and night. Of course, our government, like you said, we in the power sector, we have done phenomenally well. And in many, many areas, in our MDG goals delivery, Bangladesh has literally been an example for the rest of the world. What are some of your, as the president of FICCI as well, where would we want to see our FDI? What are our FDI goals?
In terms of FDI, why it is not coming, isn't it? So why it is not coming? What is the one is the thing I have told you that, you know, basically they need a ready-made space where they will come and build a factory. So that the thing is actually, you know, almost ready. We have to show one actually such economic zone up and running. And we have to show that, you know, the fiscal policies are not changing and very competitive with other countries. So we normally, we see that we always compare us with the past, but that's not the, in a competitive scenario, in a private sector scenario, past is past. You know, whatever you have delivered last year, it is a part of history. You are now concentrating on now scenario, and you have to see what are the comparators. Comparators, you know, you see that why we have to see and understand and know we have to really react to that why Vietnam, of course, Vietnam is getting a lot of FDI, not because America is sympathetic to them. Business people are business people. So they have to understand that in coming to Bangladesh, they will have some assurance from the government. Some of the, you know, that we see that the fiscal policies, what we are talking about, when we do export, re-export something, there is no question of VAT. But if they actually serve to the local market, there is a question of VAT. So, but in India, even when they are serving to the domestic market, there is the GST is waived. So they, in the minds of the government, we have to be clear whether we want more revenue by bringing in FDI, or we want to create employment. Government has to think, it's not only a question of earning more revenue, internal revenue, but also creating environment. And we have to be competitive, even better than, since Vietnam, they know Vietnam, then we have to really do something better than Vietnam, better than Thailand, so that we can attract and give them that kind of, you know, confidence. So as I said, you know, the only thing is that what we lack is speed. The private sector, they work with certain amount of speed. And if that speed is, if that your time is gone, then when, you know, opportunity is gone. So, and time is money. So we would like to say that our regulatory bodies, they have to respond to the call of the investor very, very fast. You know, yesterday was the time, it's not the today. So we miss some of the opportunities, and we need actually, otherwise we are going to miss this window. Other countries, Myanmar is also coming. Everybody is looking for FDI. And standing besides India, where the scale different, you know, benefit is not there, and where they have better, you know, in terms of professionals also number. So we need to be efficient in all the area. So FDI, we should embrace, and we should not have a duality of mind, and we should see that our employment goes up.
Right. Very much so. I couldn't agree with you more. One of the things I must ask you, since you are a major employer and you had an organization that is you know, one of the top players in Bangladesh, we see a dearth of professional level people. That's why we employ so many people from our neighboring countries. And that is such a huge drain on Bangladesh's foreign currency. As we well know, it's anywhere between $7 to $10 billion. So two things I want to ask you. One is, we have had several sessions where we talked about education as well. And we believe that in Bangladesh, we need to have a lot more vocational education. Skilled people, you know, that would help us in when we export manpower abroad, and also for the growth of Bangladesh also. We need a lot of skilled manpower, so we need vocational training. And then our schools and stuff, what are they producing? What are they producing? Why do we have to bring in so many people from outside? Your views on that?
My views is basically, yes, our education, we have more universities than we have polytechnic. And we also have to see that, you know, there should be a dialogue between the university or, you know, the education board with the practicing employer or industrialists. What kind of, you know, people we need. So if the fish industries, you know, fishing industries is growing, and then we need, you know, some technician who will be working in the hatcheries. So, and if we really develop, we need people in the textile industry. We need actually a textile engineer in the country, and also the technician. So one is the on-the-job training, that people are basically trainable. And so that can happen with the government, that instead of actually creating so many universities, and also we have to work with the people mindset that, you know, once if I do masters, then I do a white collar job, then we think that anybody who is working as a technician, he is, you know, looked down upon. So there is a perception also in the people's mind. So we need to change that perception also. Everything that we do, it has got its own dignity. So there is no, you know, if I do, you know, white collar job, then I become something. So that kind of mindset change it should also happen. Also, the government should control how many of that kind of, you know, graduates we are going to produce every year, and what kind of, you know, graduates we are going to bring out from the polytechnic, so that you become, you know, the higher education become too much meritocracy oriented. Then in that case, people will go for those kind of, you know, you make their scenario and also give employment to these people. So we can have at national level different kind of dialogue with the government also, the way we have done for the FDI, and government is also looking at that. And we see that how many graduates are coming out every year, and what kind of job we can give them. And there should be a matching between the industry and the graduates coming out from the different university.
Absolutely right. Rupali Chaudhary, we are at the tail end of our conversation here. How time flies when we are talking about interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Just like
yeah.
that. In conclusion, would you kindly tell us a few bullet points as to where, you know, you have covered quite a bit already, but, you know, just to sum it up, you know, what would you like to say in a couple of minutes?
I think Bangladesh is in a very interesting time where there's a lot of positive news are also in the newspaper. We see that a lot of interests are being, you know, there in the minds of the people, and people are talking. So that's a very interesting phenomenon. Now we have to bring that interest into action, as you said, and bring them in Bangladesh. And government is also doing that, and they understand that. I have seen that our Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, she has directed NBR and other important portfolios that, you know, bring out a fiscal policy which is competitive. And then, you know, so there is a direct direction from the Prime Minister. So I see that since, you know, in the international arena, there positive results are happening, and there are actually people, although you are saying that they are not skilled, but they are very much trainable. Intellect is also one thing with the Bengali people. So, and attitude is also positive. So hence we are very interesting time, and government is also looking at that, you know, along with the, and you know, local investor. I don't really differentiate between the investor, between the foreign and the local. And the joint venture could be a very, very good possibility with the big conglomerates, with the big conglomerates outside India. So outside Bangladesh. So, you know, we have seen that in India, there are a lot of companies actually form joint ventures which they didn't do anywhere else, like Starbucks, they have done with Reliance. So why not, Bangladeshi conglomerate are also going to form joint venture, and they bring in joint, those investment in Bangladesh in the economic zone. And I think our future, I like to believe that, our future is very positive and bright.
With those words, I guess those words would be the right time for us to bring it to a conclusion. Mrs. Chowdhury, such a pleasure having you. Our listeners would enjoy listening to you as much as I did. Once again, thank you so much for joining us for this session. I would like to thank our viewers for joining us, and do catch us again for the next session. Stay safe. With that, I sign off. Bye-bye.